You guys all know I'm a big Sony fanboy. I live and breathe PlayStation. If you cut me, I would bleed PlayStation? It's not the first console that got me into video games, but it is the console responsible for a lot of the gaming franchises I've come to know and love. Over the years, Sony has accumulated many exclusive first-party titles, and for the most part, I'm quite happy with all of them. However, there is one franchise on a competing platform I've always wanted PlayStation to have. That is none other than what this video is about. Forza Motorsport, the 8th Forza Motorsport title and the sequel to Forza Motorsport 7. And since this new Motorsport is a reboot, it is dropping the sequential numbering from past entries. So instead of Forza Motorsport 8, it's simply Forza Motorsport. Why do companies always do that? Just call it Forza Motorsport 8 so I can keep track of all the games. Now, I've played this for the last entire week, and I've given it a fair shot. I'm going to tell you straight up what I love about this game and what I think could have been improved. I'm not playing favorites, I'm just going to tell you like it is. Let's do this. The first thing that caught my attention was just the sheer amount of driving assist options. Regardless of your skill level, you can pretty much tailor the game to how you want to play. There's an option that helps you with steering difficult turns, an automatic braking system, visible driving lines that offer the best route on a track, and of course, who can forget the rewind option? A feature of previous motorsport titles, and one which I think was desperately needed in driving games. My biggest gripe, however, is just trying to figure out what everything does. You pretty much have to go through all the options, turning each one on and off and seeing what works best for you. Growing up playing Cruisin' USA, I never really considered myself a competitive driver, so I usually opted for the more arcade-type racing controls, which Forza Motorsport offers perfectly. ABS turned on with just the brake lines, and I'm good to go. But if you're the type looking for a simulation racer, then there's options for that too. As a longtime fan of Gran Turismo, I always found those games quite difficult to get into. An endless battery of license tests and a cluttered menu system, it wasn't easy trying to figure out where I had to go. I was also under the impression that you needed to know something about cars to really appreciate it, and that holds true with Forza Motorsport to some extent. However, it feels like Forza has a friendlier, more approachable way of easing in gamers new to racing. Evident in the abundant driving assist options, easy upgrade system, which I'll touch upon later, and the simplistic menu navigation. Everything just has a very clean, organized look to it. The thing I love most about this game is that you can go straight into the career mode. There's none of those stupid license test nonsense. And just like all the driving assist options, you can also set the AI driver difficulty as well. You can even decide where you start at the racing line or how many penalties, if any, you will incur during a race. Will car damages affect your driving and require a pit stop? That's all up to you. And if you feel like the game is too easy, then you can tweak the settings as you go before each race. The flexibility of being able to choose when and where to increase the game's challenge feels more like a natural progression of your skill, rather than just you simply choosing a higher difficulty. I would also like to point out how easy it is to upgrade your car. Green is good, red is bad. Simple as that. In fact, it's so simple, the game will even upgrade the car for you if you're too lazy to do that. Now, for the more serious car enthusiasts, it's much more than just reaching for that higher number. A lot of other factors do come into play, and Forza Motorsport offers that option with intricate car adjustments only elite car lovers will understand and appreciate. But for casual racing fans like myself, the simple upgrade system does the job perfectly. Car sounds have never really fared well with me in video games, mainly because I think they all sound the same. It's usually some variation of a high-powered vacuum cleaner. Luckily, Forza Motorsport doesn't have that issue, as each vehicle has its own distinct personality. Some of them were kinda strange, like you'd never expect a car to make that kind of noise. It caught me off guard, but in a good way. Car crashes sound equally spectacular. You can almost feel the crunch of the metal and the glass shattering as you make impact with another vehicle. It's a far cry from past racing games where everything sounded like hollow boxes bumping into each other. And although I'm disappointed there's no licensed music that plays during the races, the atmospheric sounds coming from the track itself provide a supersonic treat. For example, blasting through a small tunnel sends echoes through your speakers. We all knew this game was going to look good. I mean, it is the first Forza Motorsport to utilize the new next-gen Xbox consoles. Of all the things that were promised, ray tracing, tire wear, improved car damage model, physically based lighting and volumetric fog effects, the one feature I'm most impressed with is the dynamic time of day and real-time weather effects. Starting a race with an overcast and a slight drizzle, only to have the condition get worse as the race progresses, is mind-blowing to me. Just seeing the course turn from day to night as you're driving really does give you an experience you don't often get in racing games. Not many of you know this, but this was a feature that was promised way back in the Xbox 360 days for a game called Project Gotham Racing 4. As it turns out, there wasn't enough space on the disc, so the effect had to be dropped altogether. With the arrival of new next-gen consoles, this feature has finally made its way back into a racing game, and I couldn't be happier. The rain and water effects look gorgeous as well. I would argue Forza Motorsport does weather effects better than Gran Turismo 7. Don't get me wrong, GT7 looks great, but I don't think the cars interact with puddles as well as they do in Forza Motorsport. However, one area in which I think Forza falls short in comparison to Gran Turismo 7 has to be the track selection. I just don't think they're varied enough. I know the focus is mainly on real-world racetracks, but it'd be nice to have some tracks based around actual cities. Maybe perhaps a track on a highway in Tokyo, Japan. Or how about that one track in Gran Turismo 4 that I can never remember the name of? It looks like it was in Venice. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Another thing that impressed me about Forza Motorsport is the amount of cars on display at any given time. I think there was a total of 24 cars on the track at once, which is probably the most I've ever seen in a racing game. And if you haven't upgraded to an HDR display yet, I highly suggest you do so soon. I never realized how much a difference HDR made until I turned it off to capture footage for this game. Without it, the image just looks drab and lifeless. Alright, maybe it's not that bad. Just hurry up and get an HDR TV. I haven't tried out the online multiplayer yet, as it was not available at the time of writing this review, but I can guarantee the single player is a ton of fun. The career mode with various tours across different tracks will keep you busy for a very long time. And with countless cars to choose from, a little over 500 at last count, there should be something here for everyone. I'm no expert with cars, and quite frankly, I don't even know how to change a tire, but I do know a fun and entertaining racing game when I see one. If you enjoy the thrill of finding that perfect racing line, or passing that annoying first place driver, the reward you put into this game can't be described, only felt. For those who love the free-spirited Forza Horizon series, Motorsport is the more strict, by-the-book racer in comparison. It might not have the open-world aspect, but its structured races and next-gen graphics make it entirely something else. An unforgettable experience if you're a fan of the previous games, or just a fan of racing altogether. Highly recommended.